Video number 25, we're going to talk about piston wear, what to look for. So, I'm not going to be showing you old pistons yet. We're going to get into more elaborate stuff. I just want to go over the basics of everything first before we get into some real technical stuff and dispute some myths out there and things like that. Number one thing you're going to look for in terms of wear is it's going to happen on your thrust sides. The thing rocks back and forth basically with the compression, the thrusting, braking, accelerating. It's only going to go this way. It actually doesn't move that way because the connecting rod doesn't allow it to. So that means all your wear is going to be on the skirts. Now, believe it or not, most of that wear happens on your intake side, even on a two-stroke. And people say, well, how is that possible? And the reason being is the gas washes away the oil. And we're going to talk about how to keep that oil on there so that you get less scuffing on there. And the exhaust, of course, gets some scuffing too. And it can get scuffing if there's bad chamfering. But typically, the exhaust has a lot of oil, and it's always wet and dripping down there. Believe it or not, the majority of the time, your exhaust side of the piston would be better shape than your intake. Now, the other thing that can wear on pistons, which has very little effect on a two-stroke, is called the piston land wear. And what that means is it's the gap between the piston ring and the groove. And that can wear in time. Now, that is more of an effect on a four-stroke where you might get some compression loss or some oil slipping through there. But on a two-stroke, it's very minimal. And these things don't really run long enough to have that problem. But you're going to check for wear in the ring lands. You're also going to check for the scuffing on both sides I talked about. The piston pinholes hardly ever wear out unless you have a very serious problem, like an overheating or lack of oil, incorrect mixtures. That's a very unlikely case. So the main thing is you're going to look for is any detonation on the corners, on the top of the crown, and you're going to look for wearing on the intake side or on the exhaust side. Those are your key areas that you're going to see wear, and we're going to get more in depth on what causes these things in the next videos. So now you know. Thank you.